Is the meat on your plate secretly spiking your blood sugar? The answer might shock you. For decades, we've been told red meat is the enemy for diabetics, while chicken gets a free pass. But new research flips this story on its head. Before we rank the worst offenders, let's get clear on what makes a meat dangerous for diabetes. It has direct impact on blood sugar and insulin resistance, it causes inflammatory effects on your metabolism, and there are hidden ingredients that sabotage your health. The relationship between meat and diabetes goes well beyond the outdated red versus white debate. Let's uncover the hidden diabetes threats that might be sitting right on your dinner plate. Foods that are quietly damaging your metabolism more than you realize. Starting off with the boldest offender, processed meats. That innocent-looking deli meat in your sandwich? It's the silent diabetes accelerator hiding in plain sight. Studies show just 50 grams daily, about 2 slices of bacon or 1 hot dog, increases diabetes risk by a staggering 46%. The culprits aren't just the visible fat or salt. Processed meats contain hidden sugars, starches, and chemical preservatives that directly spike blood sugar while triggering inflammation. What's worse, these meats create a perfect storm for insulin resistance. The nitrates, advanced glycation end products, and inflammatory compounds work together to disrupt your metabolism. Have you noticed how quickly you get hungry again after eating processed meat compared to whole foods? But the next meat on our list might be even more surprising, especially since it's marketed as healthy. The supposed safe meat choice for diabetics is actually a metabolic disaster in disguise. Factory farmed chicken contains up to 30% inflammatory omega-6 fats, comparable to what you'd find in fried snack foods. One shocking study found that regular consumption of conventional chicken correlated with higher markers of inflammation than grass-fed beef, despite chicken having less saturated fat. The problem stems from how these birds are raised. Cramped conditions, unnatural corn-soy diets, and rapid growth cycles create meat with a completely different fat profile than the chicken your grandparents ate. This inflammatory fat directly interferes with insulin signaling pathways, making your cells more resistant to insulin's effects. Does this explain why diabetes rates have skyrocketed despite millions switching from beef to chicken? And speaking of beef, the next meat on our list shows why quality matters more than category. The standard supermarket beef comes from cattle that spend their final months in feedlots eating grain, a diet they never evolved to digest. This creates meat with significantly higher inflammatory markers and altered fat composition. Researchers found this meat contains nearly triple the omega-6 fats of grass-fed choices, creating a pro-inflammatory environment in your body that directly impacts insulin sensitivity. What's particularly dangerous is how this meat is marketed, often as lean and therefore healthy, while the invisible inflammatory compounds do their damage behind the scenes. The fat quality, not just quantity, decides how your metabolism responds. Grain-finished beef lacks the useful conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, that actually improves insulin sensitivity. When was the last time you checked where your beef came from? Not just how lean it was. But there's another common meat that flies under the radar while potentially wrecking your blood sugar. That crispy chicken sandwich, or breaded pork cutlet, delivers a double metabolic blow. The meat itself might be problematic, but the coating creates a perfect blood sugar storm. The combination of refined flour, vegetable oils, and the high-heat cooking method creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, compounds that directly damage insulin-producing cells and blood vessels. Just one serving of breaded meat can spike blood sugar higher than eating table sugar, despite being marketed as protein-rich. The vegetable oils used in frying are particularly dangerous, creating oxidized fats that trigger inflammation throughout your body, including in the pancreas where insulin is produced. Have you noticed how many diabetic-friendly meal plans still include breaded chicken or fish without addressing this hidden danger? The next meat on our list might be the most surprising yet. Conventional pork products contain some of the highest levels of inflammatory compounds among all meats. The standard American pork chop contains up to 20% inflammatory polyunsaturated fats, far higher than what's found in naturally raised pork. Studies show these factory pigs are fed diets designed for rapid weight gain, creating meat with altered fat profiles that directly impact human metabolism. What makes this particularly dangerous for diabetics is how pork is often prepared, cured, smoked, or sweetened, adding another layer of blood sugar disrupting compounds. The combination of inflammatory fats and processing methods makes conventional pork a perfect storm for insulin resistance. Does this explain why traditional cultures that ate pork for centuries only saw diabetes rates rise when they adopted modern farming methods? But before we reveal the absolute worst meat for diabetics, let's look at a surprising contender. But fish is healthy. Not when it's raised in crowded pens and fed unnatural diets. Farmed fish, particularly salmon, contains up to 10 times more inflammatory omega-6 fats than their wild counterparts. The feed given to these fish, often corn and soy-based, creates a completely different nutritional profile than what nature intended. Research shows the inflammatory compounds in farmed fish directly impact insulin sensitivity and promote metabolic dysfunction, the exact opposite of what diabetics need. What makes this particularly dangerous is the health halo effect. People consume farmed fish, believing they're making a healthy choice, often eating larger portions and ignoring other aspects of their diet. When was the last time you checked if your healthy fish dinner was wild or farmed? And now, the absolute worst meat for diabetics. The most dangerous meat isn't actually a single type. It's what happens when meat meets modern food engineering. These products barely resemble meat at all. Chicken nuggets, meat sticks, frozen patties, and restructured meat products. These contain a perfect storm of diabetes-accelerating compounds, hidden sugars, modified starches, seed oils, chemical preservatives, and texturizers. Studies show these products increase diabetes risk by a shocking 53% compared to unprocessed meats, even when controlling for other dietary factors. What makes them truly dangerous is their accessibility and convenience. They're specifically designed to be irresistible, affordable, and quick to prepare, creating the perfect conditions for regular consumption. The processing destroys the natural protein structure while adding compounds that directly damage your metabolic health. Have you noticed how these products often market themselves as high protein while hiding their true impact on your health? Wait until you see the final thing I want to share. It might completely change how you think about meat and diabetes. Now, if those 7 meats aren't scary enough, I need to make one extra clarification here. The most dangerous meat isn't actually a specific type, it's any meat eaten in the wrong context. Research shows that meat consumed alongside refined carbs and sugars is significantly more damaging to blood sugar than the same meat eaten with vegetables and healthy fats. This explains why traditional cultures could eat meat for centuries without epidemic diabetes rates. They consumed it differently than we do today. The metabolic impact of a steak varies dramatically depending on what you eat with it, when you eat it, and how you cook it. This context effect explains why studies on meat and diabetes often show conflicting results. They rarely account for these crucial variables. The most powerful step you can take isn't necessarily eliminating meat, but changing how you incorporate it into your overall eating pattern. Have you ever noticed how different your blood sugar response is to the same meat when eaten in different meal combinations? The truth about meat and diabetes isn't about simplistic good versus bad categories. This involves understanding the complex interplay between food quality, preparation methods, and your unique metabolism. Want to take your blood sugar control to the next level? Check out our follow-up video, The Diabetics Veggie Guide: 5 Best Nutrient Powerhouses That Reduce Blood Sugar. You'll learn the most nutritionally rich foods on the planet for the best blood sugar balance. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss science-backed tips for living healthier with diabetes.